Welcome to Love Life Solutions. Here you find practical tips and strategies for building a healthy and happy relationship. The first tip that I'm going to be talking to you about is one of the most important tips for any relationship, whether it's a new one or an old one. Now, you need to be able to communicate openly, and being honest is very important because the other person will not know what you're going through if you do not tell them. So, anticipating and assuming that the other person knows what you're going through is a big mistake that is found in a lot of relationships. If you're doing that, it's about time that you stop doing that, because it's very important that you speak to your partner regularly and explain to them what you're feeling, and maybe perhaps you've got your own goals that you need to achieve. You need to speak to them freely. And then, of course, communication is a two-way, meaning that other person also has to speak to you and you also have to listen. But remember, you have to be clear and you have to be honest about what you're going through. Don't hide it. Tell the other person what you're going through. That way, when they hear what's going on, you can now work together and sort out the problem. So remember, communication is key. The second thing I'm going to share with you is now listening. You see, communication is one thing and then listening is the other. You see, when the other person talks to you, you must be able to listen so that you understand what is going on. Now, listening has to do with one of the most important things, that is also to ask them questions about why they say they feel a certain way or why they think they are going through something. You must also be listening, and then you must ask questions. You see, when you do that, you better understand the circumstances of what your partner is going through. So it's very good to listen, but it's also good after they have spoken that you ask them a few questions so that they can clarify on what perhaps you may not have understood. So it's very good to be a good listener. I recommend that you listen, and then after that you can ask them a question on something that perhaps you need some more details about, and then that will actually build your relationship becoming stronger. And then of course they will end up trusting you more because they understand that you are willing to take the time to listen. One of the most important things that sometimes we forget to do to our loved ones or for our loved ones is to show gratitude. It is very important that you find time to show gratitude. It is not necessary that it should be something that you must buy. It's good to say, you know what? Thank you so much for doing this for me. You were cleaning the house today for me. Thank you so much. I'm grateful that you made this beautiful, lovely, tasty meal. I thank you so much that you are in my life and you've made my life better. You're a blessing to me. It is something that is very important that we must always remember. We must show gratitude to one another. We must show affection and gratitude. Gratitude is very essential in every relationship, and to show that we care about the people that we love, we must always say thank you. And when we can, and if we can be able to buy something for them, that is also great. But don't put yourself in a difficult situation if you cannot afford it. A good thank you can actually do very well. It will go a long way. Remember that. In a busy world as today, where there's so many things happening at the same time with social media, work, families, and so many things happen, we actually have to find time for our loved one. We have to prioritize time and spend time with them, like a date night, for example, taking them out on a certain day of the week to show them that we love them. This is very important because if you don't do it, then everything starts to crumble. So you must remember, one of the most important things that you can do for your relationship is to prioritize time. Make that time so that you show the other half that you do care for them so much. So remember, prioritize that time and take your loved one out maybe once a week when you can. In this busy world, is very important. Remember that tip. Relationships are not easy. They take work and lots of work. And sometimes it happens that we get upset at each other, and so forgiveness comes in. As we know, sometimes we clash. And so it is very important that you remember that we need to forgive one another because we are not perfect. Sometimes we don't agree on certain things, and so forgiveness becomes key. Sometimes, if not left unattended, sometimes grudges can start to grow. You start to hate the person you love, before you know it, you start to resent them and everything starts to go down. And sometimes you think maybe the grass is greener on the other side, but it is not like that. So what we have to do is we have to work with the people that we have. We have to love the people that we have, and we make sure that we forgive them, because it is not easy. Everybody tends to make mistakes, and if we do not do that, the relationship will suffer. So forgiveness is key. It is necessary in every relationship, because you know what? There is no perfect people. There is no perfect couples. There is no perfect love. We are in this together, and we have to learn to forgive each other, because if we let those negative feelings dwell, it will never take us anywhere. So remember, you have to learn to forgive and let go of the old grudges, so that you can build a strong, healthy, and happy relationship. Respect is one of those key components that is needed in every relationship, and so the way you address your other half is very important. If they prefer to be called by their first name, so you do that. Sometimes they prefer to be called by their last name, or maybe a nickname. You might call them sweetie, you might call them honey, you might call them love. Use those nice terms that they love so much to be called by. Call them by respect. Never disrespect the person you love, maybe by calling them a dog and things like that. No, we don't use such terms. Call them Mr. So and so, or the father of so and so, and then they would love, or Miss so and so, or the first name if they like that. You know who you love, and use respectful language when you speak to the one you love, because guess what you put in comes back out, and your relationship and your love will grow stronger each and every time. Taking care of physical, emotional, and physical being is very important in every relationship, and it's something that we are responsible for doing for ourselves and for also that with people that we love. So this means that we need to watch what we eat, what we put in these bodies of ours, whether it be our other half, our children, our families, because it's very important. What we put in affects us very much, and we are also responsible for what happens to us. So exercising is very important, in a relationship. It makes the couple to grow stronger together and healthier. You see, the healthier you are is the more positive you are. The better you feel, the more greater things that you do. And so exercising, eating well, and reading good books, and watching great things like documentaries that build you up is all part of this big circle of a relationship that is very important. So don't forget, it's very important to watch what you eat, and to also exercise, not just only for yourself but also for your family, because the healthier you are is the more loving you get. Sometimes a love relationship does go through some of its stresses, and it is very important that you seek advice from very good friends and sometimes family members as well. But I would recommend that seeing a therapist is very important, because sometimes we all go through times where we are very frustrated and where we are not working very well together. And if the relationship is not going very well, I encourage that all of us seek a therapist where we can talk to this person, him or her, and we hear the advice that they can give us, so that it can help take us back to where we were before. So a therapist is a very good person to talk to when the love relationship is breaking down and there is problems in that relationship. To keep your relationship alive, it is very important that you and your spouse do things together that you love. Perhaps it is cycling, perhaps it is going hiking on the mountains, perhaps it is playing video games, maybe you like cooking. Do things together. Go out to those movie nights if you can, or even just stay at home and enjoy each other's company. So spend some time with those that you love. You have to make sure that you have to make the time and be with the one you love, and it will definitely improve your relationships. So these were 10 tips that I had to share with you today, And I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you enjoyed our work, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel, and we'll be seeing you on the next round. Cheers.